video, Lloyd Roll, aka Mega Buzz. In today's video, we're looking at Walking Wake EX. Now, Walking Wake EX is kind of one of the least used ancient Pokemon, I feel like. It gets really overshadowed by things like Roaring Moon EX and Gouging Fire EX and even Brute Bonnet as well. But Walking Wake EX has a pretty interesting partner in Volcanion EX, and I really wanted to showcase that in today's video. So let's get into that deck list. Already here at that deck list, starting us off with Walking Wake EX has an ability that says damage from attacks used by this Pokemon isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So being able to kind of shred through things like Mimikyu and such is pretty helpful. Also has an attack here for 120 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon isn't affected by a special condition, this attack does 120 more damage. So we're able to hit for 240 if our opponent's active Pokemon is inflicted with some sort of special condition, whether that's confusion or poison or burn or anything of that nature. We're kind of able to do some more damage with that. So a lot of people, including myself, have been pairing this with Volcanion EX and Brute Bonnet. But let's start off with the Volcanion EX here. It has an ability, Scalding Steam. Once during your turn, as Pokemon's in the active spot, you may make your opponent's active Pokemon burned. So being able to burn your opponent's active Pokemon and then free retreat out thanks to Latias EX, giving all basic Pokemon in play having free retreat cost. Being able to get out of that or use a switch or something to get out of the Volcanion into the Walking Wake, being able to hit for 240 is pretty crazy. But let's say we need to hit higher than 240 damage plus the burn. We have that Brute Bonnet in here, being able to kind of get that poison damage counter rolling. If it has Ancient Booster Energy attached, we're able to make both active Pokemon poisoned. Pair this with Binding Mochi, being able to make it so attacks used by our poison Pokemon do 40 more damage. We just need to make sure it doesn't have Ancient Booster Energy Capsule attached to it when we do this, because if we try to poison it, we can't A, attach Binding Mochi, and B, it won't even get poisoned anyway. So really had to make sure that we're doing this in a certain order. So Volcanion EX and Brute Bonnet kind of being able to give us two different options for that. We also have the Munkidori for that Adrenabrain ability, the Pecharunt with that Toxic Subjugation ability for that Donks, Fezandipiti for the script, Mew EX for the restart, and then we have Budew here for that Itchy Pollen, that item locking ability. Lillie's Clefairy EX is really helpful into something like Dragapult, being able to just get the energies onto it and just really being able to one-shot a Dragapult, pretty helpful, and Squawkabilly EX. For Sada's Vitality, to get the energies to our Walking Wake EX is going to be really important, so we are playing the Sada's Vitality for that energy acceleration and that draw support as well. 2 Buster's Orders, 1 Carmine, 1 Iono for the supporters. For the items here, we got 4 Nest Ball, 3 Energy Switch, 3 Ultra Ball, 3 Earthen Vessel, 2 Pokegear, 2 Night Stretcher, 1 Counter Catcher, 1 Prime Catcher for the A-Spec of choice. You could probably play Secret Box in this deck as well. It might feel better than Prime Catcher, but I felt like Prime Catcher was good, being able to kind of switch in and out of the Volcanion and the Walking Wake and things like that to make sure we can get off and attack each turn. 1 copy of Switch, 4 copies of Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, 2 Binding Mochi, 2 Town Store, 5 Water Energy, 2 Dark Energy, 1 Luminous Energy, 1 Jet Energy, and 1 Psychic Energy. Really kind of having this ancient toolboxy type deck, kind of like the Gouging Fire video that we had talked about previously, but this one taking a very different aspect and approach to it, and both decks I feel are pretty fun. So let's jump right in to that gameplay. Already here at that Walking Wake EX gameplay here. At the coin flip, it is going to be heads, unfortunately, so our opponent does get to pick if they want to go first or second, and we are going to be going first. So that could open up for some Pecharunt EX Toxic Subjugation donks potentially, but this hand does not look like it is going to be doing that for us. So ideally, we would like to be going second so we can try to get an attack off as quickly as possible. So we're just going to have to see. Now, unlike the Gouging Fire EX deck that I had made a video about, being able to put energies both to Roaring Moon and Gouging Fire as both attackers, we're going to have to either put the energies to 2 Walking Wake EXs or our Brute Bonnet and then use Energy Switch to get them to the Walking Wake. But being able to kind of have more status conditions and different things like that still feels pretty powerful. So attach the energy here. Nest Ball gonna get us that Squawkabilly EX. Ultra Ball here gonna be fishing out the Volcanion EX here. Going to play that card. We're going to also restart for 2 here, getting Town Store plus Binding Mochi. So we're going to Town Store here, looking at getting maybe an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. However, we prized 3 Ancient Booster Energy Capsules in this matchup. When we used that Town Store, we only saw 1 in the deck, and I didn't really want to risk losing it, so I just quickly was like, no, I'm good. I'll just commit the Binding Mochi to maybe the Walking Wake or the Volcanion or something like that, and kind of go from there. So we're just kind of throwing some stuff out here, getting some things kind of rolling. We are in a kind of an interesting situation where we could potentially attack with Volcanion EX, but we would need a second Luminous, which is something that I might want to put in this list here. But we're going to have the Brute Bonnet plus that Ancient Booster Energy Capsule attached. So we're in a pretty solid spot. We got the Fezandipiti. Now, however, we don't have our Latias EX, but not to worry, we don't really need it at this moment. Right now, we're kind of in an interesting situation where we are just trying to get an attacker ready to take some knockouts on maybe this Hobbs Zacian EX here. They're going to put that band on that Zacian, plus going to be able to boss's orders up our Brute Bonnet. So Latias would have been really good here. We're going to be able to retreat out of this Brute Bonnet, but they're going to just do some damage here. 90 to the Brute Bonnet, and then 30 to our benched Walking Wake here. But we can't really retreat, unfortunately. We need to find the 1 copy of Switch or something like that to kind of get out of this scenario. So we're going to restart for 1 here. We're going to get Pokegear 3.0, which isn't really what we wanted, but we're going to use it, get a Sada, thin the deck a little bit. We're trying to find that Switch, like I said. Just Town Store here, trying to find some more pieces. Even Jet Energy could also work here. Sada's Vitality, putting that Water Energy to the Walking Wake here. They're just going to attach the energy here, and then we're going to Toxic Powder, just get some damage counters on our opponent's Hobbs Zacian EX. Nice stretch. You're going to pull out a Walking Wake here. As we're kind of in a situation where this Brute Bonnet is definitely going to get knocked out because another Insta Strike will do the job. So they're going to Town Store here, finding themselves another Hops Choice Band, putting it on that Hops Cramorant here, which is going to have that very powerful Fickle Spitting attack. If I have exactly 3 or 4 prize cards, this attack will actually do something. If you don't have exactly 3 or 4 prize cards, this attack does nothing. So Insta Strike here, 90 to the active, 30 more to our benched Walking Wake, and then we are going to go into our Mew. We really needed to commit to something, and I felt like Mew was just kind of the best bet. We're just going to have to see here, though. This is where I feel like maybe if we put up the Volcanion EX, we could try to find ourselves that Latias EX to retreat out of it, but we got Jet Energy, so we could just retreat out of that into the Volcanion, use its ability, and then, you know, Jet Energy up, but it's still poisoned, so we can just kind of hold on to that Jet Energy, actually, because it's going to do more damage. So we're going to go Sawdust to the Water Energy to that Walking Wake. We should have played the other Walking Wake first, but I really wanted to get this Latias in play here, or the Brute Bonnet. So we're going to go for the Brute Bonnet play, and the reason, like I said, either Latias is good or Brute Bonnet is good. Latias, so we can have the free retreat, but we had the Jet Energy, so it wasn't too big of a deal. But the Brute Bonnet, if we can get ourselves into another capsule off of these prize cards, it would be fine. But I realized that we need a Walking Wake in play, because if they knock out this, then I don't really have a backup attacker. So we're going to hit for 240 damage here, taking 2 prize cards, getting 2 Ancient Booster Energy Capsules off our prize cards, which makes sense because 50% of our prize cards were literally that card. It was literally Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. So finally get that here. Going to be able to put that on our Walking Wake and our Brute Bonnet and kind of get that rolling here. We're in a pretty good spot. We got a lot of pieces here. If they knock out this Walking Wake, it's not too big of a deal. We're going to be able to go into our Canyon, going to be able to be behind on prize cards so we can counter catcher, pull up the Hobbs Zacian, take that knockout, and kind of go from there. We're just going to have to see kind of what pieces all together here. So Fickle Spitting for 180 to our Walking Wake. Going to put us in a 3-4 split. So now we're behind on prize cards, which works out for us because we're then going to be able to counter catcher up the Hobbs Zacian EX. Then going to be able to use that Scalding Steam ability here. And then also going to have access to a couple more things. We're going to Earthen Vessel, pitch that energy into the discard pile, get ourselves that Water Energy, flip the script, draw 3 cards here, getting ourselves into the Latias, attach the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule to the Walking Wake, attach an energy for turn, plus we're going to be able to Sawdust Vitality here, getting the other water energy to our Walking Wake, retreat out of the Volcanion into the Walking Wake, and then we're going to be able to hit for some pretty insane numbers here. We're going to be hitting for 240 damage and be able to take a knockout on that Hop Zacian EX. Now, the unfortunate part is this will activate flip the script on Fezandipiti because it's not getting KO'd by status conditions in between turns. It's getting knocked out by the actual attack itself. Off our prize cards there, we're going to get Boss's Orders in that Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. So we've gotten all 3 of our capsules, at least out of our prize cards, which is pretty nice. So also got Boss's Orders so we can pull up that Hop Zacian EX that they just benched, which will be pretty helpful here. They're going to attach that Metal Energy to that Archaludon EX here. Gonna be able to hit for 220 damage. So really all we gotta do here is just Jet Energy up the Volcanion, and then Boss's Orders, pull up the Hop Zacian EX, Scalding Steam, making it so it's burned, retreating out of the Volcanion into the Walking Wake. I'm gonna be able to hit for 240 damage to take our last 2 prize cards against this Hops Zacian Archaludon deck. Really being able to showcase the just kind of flexibility this deck has, not only with that poison package, but also with the burn package and Volcanion, and being able to kind of just one-shot some of the stronger cards in our format. I've really been enjoying this Walking Wake deck and the Gouging Fire deck that I made a video about as well. So let's jump right in to that outro. All we're just going to draw for today's video. Make sure to put the deck list that I play in today's video in the description below, ready for copy paste into TCG Live. If you guys want the content I've been making stuff for the channel, do me a favor, leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. We're on the road to 1K subs. But before we end today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my awesome channel members you see here. They continue to support the channel even further by joining the Trainer Club here on the Mega Blitz YouTube channel. But let's get it off for today's video. So I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!